In tonight's headlines, the government criticizes G7 foreign ministers, saying the bloc has demonstrated hypocrisy with double standards. Union Hospital suffers massive cyber attack with hackers demanding $10 million. And after just over 6 months of war, the death toll in Gaza crosses 34,000, with more than double the number injured. The SAR government today strongly criticized a statement issued by foreign ministers from the Group of 7 or G7 countries and representatives of the European Union for misleading people and smearing the newly adopted domestic national security law. A government spokesman said it was Hong Kong's constitutional duty to safeguard national security, and many G7 countries already have similar legislations in place. The statement from G7 foreign ministers expressed concerns over civil and political rights and freedoms in Hong Kong after the implementation of the Safeguarding National Security Ordinance last month.
Hackers launched a massive cyber attack on Union Hospital's computer systems earlier this week, demanding a ransom of $10 million. The medical facility in Sha Tin has refused payment and reported the case to the Department of Health, the Office of the Privacy Commissioner for Personal Data, and the police. Hospital authorities said they had activated the emergency response system to manage daily operations and have stepped up cybersecurity measures. Tim Pang, a member of the patient focus group of the hospital accreditation, worries there may be a higher risk of incorrect diagnosis or treatment since doctors and nurses are now handling patient records manually. Patient data has not been compromised so far, said hospital staff. The Department of Health has ordered the hospital to hand in a report concerning the attack within a month. Dr. Donald Lee Kwok Tong, chairman of the city's Elderly Commission, says sufficient support must be provided to carers of the elderly and disabled. Speaking on a radio program this morning, Lee said those who look after the elderly and the disabled need some time for themselves, as providing such care could be quite stressful. Carers should also make good use of the government's designated hotline for support, admitting that there is a long queue for admission to subsidized elderly care homes in the city, and those operated by Hong Kong organizations in 9 cities in the Greater Bay Area. Lee suggests the government should expand the scheme to other care homes on the mainland so that those needing support can have more options. Of more than the 40,000 scam reports received by the police last year, a majority of them were related to online shopping. The biggest losses were recorded in investment scams, amounting up to $6 billion. Police Chief Raymond Siu says there's a surge in investment fraud this year, with losses already amounting to more than $2 billion so far. Most of these victims are experienced investors, he said. Citizens have to be cautious when they participate in investments that claim to be low risk with high returns, Siu added.
A man who set himself ablaze at a park across the New York courthouse where former U.S. President Donald Trump was attending the jury selection for his criminal trial has died. Police and medical personnel rushed Maxwell Azzarello to the hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. The 37-year-old doused himself in a flammable liquid before throwing conspiracy theory pamphlets into the air. Officials said he had recently traveled from Florida to New York, and his motive for the act remains unclear. Jury selection in Trump's hush money case is complete, and apart from the 12 people selected, 6 alternate jurors will also sit in the jury box. They will act as a backup if any of the original 12 are excused from the case. Among those who could decide Trump's fate include lawyers, an investment banker, and an English teacher. The selection process took 4 days to conclude after dismissing dozens who expressed negative opinions about Trump, while others opted out due to concerns of public pressure. To safeguard their anonymity, the judge has ruled that identities of the jurors will be kept confidential and only the prosecutors, Trump and his legal team would know who they are. Leaving the court, Trump once again criticized the trial, deeming it unfair after his request to delay and move the trial out of Manhattan were denied.
What's happening here with the judicial system is an outrage, and all over the world they're watching it, and all over the world they're seeing it. This is a giant witch hunt to try and hurt a campaign that's beating the worst president in history. Biden's the worst president in the history of our country, beating him by a lot. And this is the only way they think they can win, but it's not going to work. Thank you very much.
The former president had pleaded not guilty to 34 felony counts of falsification of business records after he allegedly tried to cover up a sexual encounter with adult movie star Stormy Daniels. Opening statements are set to begin on Monday. Cheryl Yun, Cable News. More than 1,000 people have fled eastern Myanmar to take refuge in western Thailand after fresh clashes erupted between the army and ethnic Karen guerrillas who have recently captured a border town. Roughly 1,300 people crossed the border from Mayawadi into the Thai city of Mae Sot, which is the most active trading post between the two countries. The latest clashes were triggered after guerrillas launched an attack against a group of Myanmar army troops who have been holding out near a bridge on the Thai border. In a further setback to the Myanmar army, which is considered invincible, large chunks of the territory have been captured by ethnic fighters and rebels who took up arms after a coup 3 years ago. Thai authorities are monitoring the situation. Plumes of smoke could be seen rising over the Gaza Strip amid escalating tensions in the Middle East. As Israeli airstrikes continue, the death toll in Gaza has surpassed 34,000 and over 76,000 injured following more than 6 months of war between Israel and Hamas. The past 24 hours alone, 42 Palestinians were killed and 63 wounded, according to the besieged enclave's health ministry. On behalf of United Nations Chief Antonio Guterres, his spokesman urged for actions against escalation.
That it is high time to stop the dangerous cycle of retaliation in the Middle East. The Secretary General condemns any acts of retaliation, appeals to the international community to work together to prevent any further development that could lead to devastating consequences for the entire region and beyond.
He added that ongoing hostilities threaten humanitarian workers in Gaza as roads are destroyed and unexploded ordnance is everywhere. The volume of aid entering the Gaza Strip remained critically low, with no significant improvement this month. Meanwhile, the alleged Israeli attack on the Iranian province of Isfahan caused no casualties and property damage. According to the Iranian military, its air defense systems intercepted 3 small drones in the eastern part of Isfahan during the early hours of Friday. Israel is yet to take responsibility for the attacks. Washington said they were notified by Israel about the strikes.